Welcome back to Our Vision Farm, everyone. I am out here. I was just doing some garden checks this morning. I just finished setting up the roadside stand, but we have some new things. I don't think I've shown you our raspberries that are growing on the bushes at the entrance of this flower garden. We have lots of berries. So this is what they look like right now. They're not ripened yet. They're just now growing and filling in. We gave these a pretty good pruning, so hopefully we get lots of raspberries. When we moved in here last year, it was kind of like the end of season for them, so it'll be exciting to see how many we get. So the flower garden is doing good. I've been trying to pick weeds in here. Right now what we have blooming is bachelor buttons in the wildflower container here, marigolds, and I'm not sure what these little white flowers are, but those have been blooming, and also the nasturtiums have been blooming, and the poppies on that side of the garden. I don't know if you can see them. Let me get closer. We also have lots of herbs, spearmint, bee balm, thyme and rosemary, cilantro and parsley is what we have growing in here as well. So those are the red poppies, and then we have more over there. The rhubarb has been doing really good. I harvested some more yesterday, and we also have lots of sunflowers that I think are getting close to opening. Not opening up yet, but they're starting to form that little head in the middle. We planted the kiwi berries over here a while ago. So there's, I believe it was 4 female plants and 2 males. So we planted the males in the middle. So this is an example of a female one, and it's starting to trellis up the panels. We're going to try to keep those very trained and prune them a lot so that they'll just grow on these panels. And we'll also expand this area. Eventually we'll get some more panels and T-posts to give them some more spreading space. But for now, they should stay pretty small for this first year before fall time comes and everything goes into dormant. So the Carmine Jewel cherry trees are over here. They're still doing good. We did lose one of them. It looks like an animal went in and like ripped it out, and we didn't notice in time, so it dried out. But the rest of them are doing good and growing new leaves, so that is good. The honeyberries, I checked those out today. They're also doing good. I showed a video of that not too long ago, how they were growing new growth, so those are happy. There is one that dried up, but the rest look perfectly fine and growing new leaves, and nothing has bothered them besides the one that dried up. We haven't even watered the honeyberries, just one time when we first planted them. Everything else has just been rain. This is our volunteer pumpkin plant. I did have to put some powder on them to try to get rid of cucumber beetles that kept eating the leaves. So hopefully the powder kills those, and I wanted to show you what they were looking like. I did see some baby pumpkins somewhere, but these are just now starting to flower. I'm not sure where the baby pumpkin was, but these are the big orange jack-o'-lantern pumpkins. It's just a volunteer plant. We put this cage here to try to protect this one. This one was too big to really protect it with anything, so we're just leaving it as is, and hopefully nothing messes with it. Nothing has messed with it so far besides the little cucumber beetles, and we find a caterpillar every now and then. The pumpkins that we have back there are also doing about the same. We put the pens that we were using for our chickens over those to protect them from deers getting them, but those are doing beautifully too, and they're right about the stage of those pumpkin plants. They're just about to start flowering and blooming, and we should start seeing baby pumpkins from those too. The garden is doing really good. The tomato plants are flowering right now. We're still harvesting lettuce, mustard greens, collards, kale. We're waiting for our garlic to be ready for harvesting and drying later. But what I want to do now is go to the forest. I got my jacket on. I brought a mosquito net. And I doused myself in mosquito spray just in case there's a lot of bugs. But I have not went into the forest lately since summer really began. Right now I'm walking along where the honeyberries are planted. We have a lot of wild strawberries, so I brought a bag with me because I want to pick some wild strawberries along the forest and see how many there is inside the forest. We also have a lot of wild plants in the forest that we never even knew came with the property, like what I think is wild raspberries, but I'm starting to lean more towards their blackberries, so I'll show you how those look. We'll have to see once they ripen to see what they truly are, because the Google says raspberries, but to me the actual berry looks more like a blackberry. They're just green right now, so you can't tell what it is. So I'm going to head in the forest, do some foraging, and see how many strawberries we can find. I saw a lot of strawberries along the forest, but I do remember before, when it was springtime, we had a lot of wild strawberry plants inside the forest, and we have not walked through there to see what it's looking like and if we have berries ready to pick, because the berries along the forest are definitely bigger than the ones we have in the field. We also had these plants where my husband has not mowed. We're leaving some areas unmowed. We have these plants that look very similar to blueberry plants. They look like this and they're flowering. I did a Google image search and it's coming up as deer berries, which is another type of edible berry. I'm not sure why they're called deer berries. Maybe deer like them. But we're letting them grow and not mowing over them because we're going to see what they turn into. Supposedly, if they are deer berries, those are edible. Turns into like a blueberry, very similar to blueberries, but a little bit more tart tasting. So if that's what that turns out to be, that is pretty cool because we have a lot of them. There's like a whole field of them here and then back there near the entrance of our trail. So that'll be neat if it does turn out to be something edible. The wild strawberries are all over the place. We did pinpoint a wild cherry tree at the entrance of our little trail to the forest. And then of course we have all the wild apples, and then the berries. I'm trying to find a good nice full bush to show you because I think they're blackberries, but maybe you can let me know as well. So here's one of them, but look how fully loaded they are with berries. They are still green, so it's hard to see what they could be. The plant looks like raspberry, but I'm not sure if they could be blackberries. The way that they're like really shiny makes me think blackberries, but never know, maybe wild raspberries look like that. But if I come over here, they're just fully loaded, so that's going to be nice. Once they ripen, we can come and pick. And this is lining our whole entire forest over here. I think these were the service berries. I believe I scanned these once they were flowering. Unless they're crab apples, I'm not sure. I think they're service berries, but we had a tree that had these nice white flowers on it, and I scanned it in the springtime and it came up as service berry, which is another edible. People don't really eat them, but you can make jellies and stuff out of them, so I was thinking of doing that. This might be a crab apple or just a regular wild apple. And we have lots of apple trees on our property, so I am looking forward to once those start popping up and we can harvest them in the fall time. So the strawberries that we have growing along the forest and in the forest, I'm going to be picking today because I definitely want to pick some and maybe freeze them to use later. In this area here, the dogs have not been in. We have a lot of strawberries in our field, but the dogs use the bathroom in the field and I don't really want to pick them to eat. But along the forest line, besides wildlife, I'll still wash them before using them. Besides wildlife, the dogs have not touched this area and used the bathroom here, so I feel safer about collecting these berries and doing something with them. So I'm gonna see how many I can pick along the edge of the forest, and then once I go into the forest, I'll turn the camera back on so we can see what it looks like back there. It has been a while since we've traveled back there and seen the difference from what it looks like since early spring. That's the last time we really walked through. So I'm gonna collect some strawberries. Here's some more service berries or maybe crab apples. We feel very blessed with this property because it is just overflowing with abundance in wild plants that we did not expect. When we first purchased the property, we knew there was apple trees and then the rhubarb plants where the flower garden was, but we didn't expect wild strawberries and wild berries all over the place and other edible things. We probably even have wild blueberries. I have not, like I said, haven't looked in the forest to see, but I remember seeing some plants that kind of reminded me of blueberries other than these deer berries. So we have a lot of things naturally occurring in the forest that we're very excited about, and just feel super blessed that we have all of these things already growing here. Like, we wanted to plant strawberries and we might still plant them, but it's kind of cool having wild ones already growing without having to plant them. So let's see. I'll get back with you as soon as I start traveling into the forest through the trail, and I'll be able to show you what it looks like in there. And I'm just going to pick the strawberries that are here for now. Alright, I'm in one part of our forest. This is more the flatter side. We have our walking trail to the left. I'm finding a lot of these. I think these are also wild raspberries. I'm going to look them up, but I'm actually finding more of these than the wild strawberries. They're still wild strawberries, but we have a lot of this covering the ground. So I'll look it up to see. I have collected some just in case they do turn out to be edible, and we'll do something with those too. But that's pretty cool. That's a new one. They look like raspberries, but they're more on the ground, and the leaves look just like raspberries. So here's some more forest where it starts getting like thicker. There is some junk left here from the previous owners. And this, in the fall and winter, you can see everything. We have like an old snowmobile and an old snow blower and stuff, but you can hardly see because it's buried under plants. But this is kind of where I want to go through. See if I can find any more strawberries, although I'm definitely finding more of these than strawberries. We tried to forage for mushrooms, which we're gonna try again maybe in the fall time. I think there's more chances of finding edible mushrooms here in our forest. We couldn't really find any in springtime, at least not any that we could pinpoint for sure that were edible. But this is the time definitely for berries, so I wanted to check out the forest. Actually, it's pretty walkable. I thought it was way more thicker than this, but it's not too bad at all. I can walk through it. There's a lot of nice flat areas. This used to be like all wet and muddy before, and it has all dried out. So I can actually walk through areas that I couldn't walk through before. Alright, I took a little break. I went and traded in my bag for a bowl because some of the berries were getting smushed. So I did some research on these berries that kind of look like raspberries. Based on what I could compare to other photos and other people discussing in the identification groups for Maine, these should be dewberries or a type of like dwarf raspberry is what they call them, because the plant grows very close to the ground, looks like a raspberry, but you get these little berries that look kind of like blackberries. They taste just like raspberries though. So I've been able to find more of those than the wild raspberries or wild strawberries. Even though I came out to pick strawberries, I'm seeming to find a lot more of these. So I'm gonna keep picking. I'm gonna go through here. We have a little trail through here and see what else I can find. This is where we're at right now. It's not quite enough to make anything out of, but I think what I'm going to do is just freeze them, and then once everything else starts ripening up, I'll make like a big wild mixed berry jam or a jelly or something like that. I think that'll be a good way to utilize these fresh berries. They say a way to identify if you can eat a berry, let me try to find one, is if it has 5 points. So you see 5 leaves there, that means that this berry is supposedly safe to eat. So that's kind of what I'm going by. I tried some, my husband tried some. They taste just like raspberry, but I think this is what they look like when they're fully ripe. They're supposed to be more of a darker color. I've been picking whatever I find just because I know I'm going to add sugar to them anyway, and they're mixed in here with all of the wild strawberries too. So I'm going to keep picking and see how many I can get, since our forest floor is just saturated with these plants. It's all over the place. I'm probably smushing a bunch as I'm walking through also, but I'm going to see what else I can find, see if I can get this bowl a little bit more full. It's getting a little thick here to walk with these ferns. These ferns are almost as tall as me, but I did find a little bit more berries. We seem to have way more on the other side of the property though. I think just because the land is a little bit more cleared out. There's more open spots where the sunshine hits the berries. I'm finding a few every now and then, but it's not as abundant as the other side. So I'm gonna go back there and grab a couple more. Alright, this is how much I picked. Let me zoom out a little bit. I think I'm done for today. I'm going to see and maybe come back later. Like I said, I think we're done for wild strawberries. I think those are pretty much past their prime. I think these dewberries, or if they are dwarf raspberries, I think they're going to be getting ripe probably in the next 2 days, even more riper. I found some really dark ones, but a lot of them are like really bright red. So I'm gonna give them more time and see if I can get some more later on and continue stacking this up. I'm gonna fill like a big Ziploc bag and put it in the freezer until I have enough berries to make some jam with. I keep saying I'm gonna stop picking, but then I keep finding more. But that is it. I'm gonna pick a couple more as I'm walking out of the forest, and hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had lots of fun showing you what the forest looks like at this time of the year here in Maine, Zone 5A, and to show you what a difference the seasonal changes makes, and showing you a little bit of a harvest. Very excited for these. I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay tuned. I'm trying to be way more consistent in posting, so any little projects that we're doing or anything like this where I'm coming out to forage, I want to take you guys with us, and just remember to pick up that camera and bring it with me. I hope that our content helps you out and inspires you and keeps you motivated to reaching for your dreams. This is truly like my dream property. I couldn't have imagined a better spot for us, and we're so thankful and grateful for being here and having all of this beautiful nature to enjoy, and also planting all of the things that we want to add onto the land to only continue improving it and growing more food for ourselves, our family, our community, and also making products out of with the things that we harvest here from our land and the things that we grow ourselves and are able to harvest from our own hard work, sweat, and tears. So everything is going as planned. So far we've been able to achieve most of the things that we set out to achieve for this year one in Maine, and we're really enjoying our property and taking it all in, and it just keeps surprising us, and we're just happy to be here and excited. Like, we feel no regret at all moving from Florida to Maine. We're super grateful and just in awe of how God works and how he found this perfect spot for us. So I hope our story inspires you and motivates you as well. I'll see you in the next video, so stay tuned, and thanks for watching this one.